Excellent.
Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to another 3D Hangouts. My name is Noah Ruiz. I'm a designer here at Adafruit, and joining me every week is my brother Pedro. Hello.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Pedro's Creative Tech here at Adafruit, and every week we're here to share 3D printed projects featuring electronics from Adafruit.
That's right. This is the show we combine 3D printing and DIY electronics to make inspirational projects. Hello, everybody hanging out in the Discord chat room. If you are watching live and you'd like to say hello during the live show, you can say so. You can say hello on the live broadcast chat channel on Adafruit's Discord server. The link to that is up top here. We have a banner. There it is. Discord.gg/Adafruit. We'll take a couple of moments to welcome everybody to the show. We'll do some housekeeping. We have some freebies to talk about. New projects, shop talk, all that and more on, you guessed it, Ask a Designer. No, on 3D Hangouts.
3D Hangouts.
Pedro, say hello to everybody.
Good morning. I might have to restart my browser because my second camera is
no worries. I will
else.
shout out everybody. We have Duester, DJ Devin, Andy Calloway, Vince. Hello, everybody watching live. We're broadcasting on all the different channels. And just as a show note, this is episode 399. That means next week is episode 400. Yeah, I know. We thought so too. But no, episode 400 is next week. We have a special, hopefully we'll have a special banner. And I don't know, maybe we'll do something celebratory. Yeah, we'll see if we can get like a special discount code or something, like a bigger discount code. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and jump into the freebies. Adafruit.com/free. These are all the freebies that are available this week. So if your order is $99 or more, you'll get a free half-size Permaproto breadboard. It'll get automatically added to your cart during checkout. If your order is $149 or more, you'll get the half-size Permaproto plus a free Adafruit RP2040 feather. That's right, a feather. That's a new one. And if your order is $200 or more, you'll get the free RP2040 feather, the half-size Permaproto, and free ground shipping for continental US only. So again, check out adafruit.com/free to get these freebies automatically added to your cart. No need for a special coupon code, but we do have a coupon code for today. It is going to give you 10% off your total order, and the coupon code is Bo-Katan. Or is it Bo-Katan? Bo-Katan, Bo-Katan, tomato or tomato to you. Yeah, that's that's this week's project. It's Bo-Katan is a Star Wars character, and Pedro will talk about it in a couple moments as we get our browsers situated.
We are good.
Yeah. We are good. All right, you're up, man.
All right, go ahead and get into this week's project. The Bo-Katan LED headband. It's a nice little simple project that we wanted to try to make with these teeny tiny little, what is it, SMT surface mount LEDs. So nice simple little project. I have not seen these for sale anywhere. A lot of the ones that are up for purchase, I think it's just like the no LEDs in it. So definitely a good way to try to make one. And here's what it looks like off my head. Nice little diffusion on. And the way that we're doing the diffusion is with simple hot glue, which gives it this nice glowy effect. You can see that the LEDs are all the way down on this side, and it's able to sort of act like a light pipe almost, which is what you were using that in last week's project.
That's right.
So what we have here is some recesses on here that the LEDs are threaded to. You can see how that goes through there. And then we use the hot glue on top. We do some trimming of the, because we sort of glob it on there. And because of the recess, it's able to fit into the shape of that. We're just using a hobby knife to clean it up, square it away, and get that nice little look. So if you wanted to add more, I could definitely have a bunch more nice detail all over the headband. forget what that one guy on Instagram who has like makes like the LED masks and all that. So this would be a nice way to make some miniature sized ones. The LEDs that we're using come with these wires, so they're super easy to work with. So you don't have to have like some tiny little soldering pads to attach all the wires. And they're just long enough that you could trim these down to fit whatever you want to insert these into. The coin cell battery that we're using the 20 millimeter or the 2032 coin cell breakout, which is inside here. We have this nice little switch to actuate it. So you can get to the on and off button. This is a snap fit case. So snap fits like this. Take this guy out like that. You can see on the inside how that is nicely in there. I should have gone to the other camera. Let me switch over real quick. Where is my cursor? Bam.
There we go.
Where am I?
You're there. I made a full screen for you. Oh, it's
no,
upside down.
Yeah. So yeah, nice simple little circuit. The blue is the ground and the red is the power. So it's just connected to the software, the switch, and here is the tiny little switch that turns it on and off. The coin cell battery lasts, I don't know, quite a while. I have not changed this out, and I've worn this multiple times, like all day through the parks in like 90-degree weather, and it's held up very well in terms of the the 3D printed headband, nice and smooth. So I forgot I was even wearing it a lot of the times. So everything's all nicely smoothed out, beveled out, and the print takes, about 4 hours is the really unfortunate part. So it's quite a big print. We have like filters, or not filters. Blanking on it. The fillets. We have fillets on all of the details, so you have a little bit of not needing support for any of these. So they're not too deep in there, but you do get the detail. You definitely add some weathering effects. And that's really why I have all these recesses in there, so you could get like the dry brush effect and get some nice like shading details added to that. This was created in Fusion 360, so all of the way that this is all modeled is with a simple curve. So you can adjust the curve, just measure your head, and you can edit the ellipse that I'm using for this. You can grow this up bigger or smaller, and then the way that the sweep works, you could even have this be like shorter or longer. Same thing with the little, I don't know what this part that hangs down is. You can also extrude that to match your head size, so you can have it line up perfectly with right where your ear ends or starts, I guess, and then adjust that if you need to have it smaller. If you want to wear it with one of the Mandalorian helmets, it could definitely help in model, so you can fit that around your head. And what else are we looking at here? Oh, the elastic band. You can just measure this to your head size. The width is your standard 1.5 inch wide elastic band, and these are used for craft wearables, crafting, like making headbands, and of course wearables like clothes and stuff like that. So super comfortable on the back of your head. And we're using these, I forgot the name that they use for these, like end pinch metal pinchers, I think.
That's about it.
So the ends do not fray. And then what else? Details on the actual the case that holds this. So proud of figuring out how to have these little notches in here, so you can thread the entire elastic band through. So you don't have to do that dance where you have to, order of operation, how you solder things. So that definitely helped out immensely. So not only can you thread the elastic band through there, but you can use that to hide your wires. These all just go through like that, and then mount with M2.5 screws. What was the other thing? Simple. They didn't do it with this one, but a nice way to actually hide your wires behind there is with a little bit of thread. So I just threaded on there, not too taut, so that if the wires want to move around, just do that. But all it's doing is just forcing it to go behind the headband. You have a little, lot better way to hide this. One of the other things I should have done was sort of measured wire, so this actually went up over, so you could like hide, behind this over here.
Oh yeah.
I
Okay.
already cut the wires.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Very
Yeah, nice
nice.
little way
Yeah.
to make hiding your wires, and a nice little way to build everything into the headband. So a nice little simple way to create a nice subtle wearable with LEDs.
Very cool. I like
Icon.
that you made the custom battery box with the snap fit cover, because like when you need to change the battery out, you don't have to like unscrew anything. You just pop the cover off because it snap fits, and like that's like a really good way to kind of embed electronics, is to mount it to something, but always have something snap fit so that it can come off and you can still remove the battery, rewire it if you need to. And then that little bit of the actuator is really nice, because then you have so much more accessibility to the slide switch. Switch is very tiny, and like, meaty fingers tend to struggle with such small little surface mount components. So it's nice to have a bigger actuator. You'll see this a lot with some of the electronic kids toys. They always have a big beefy smoothed out actuator that fits over the actual switch that's either on the PCB or somewhere else. So that's a really nice approach. I really like you went that extra mile with that. And the snap fits look really chunky, so they're not going to break after several removals.
Yeah, we also have like little end stops inside the snap so it doesn't slide out of the way. And then we have a couple more little details here. This little extrusion right here, so the button itself isn't like wiggling back and forth. So that was another thing where it would wiggle a lot more.
I haven't seen that.
See that right here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So
very good.
And then I should have last week. There's like a little extrusion right here on the edge, so it doesn't pop out either. So it'll press fit in, but then it won't come out. Was one of the main.
Right. You have like some 45-degree extrusions, like a little ridge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. I see us use, if we like make these type of projects that need a coin cell breakout, like definitely this is the way to go. Like using this battery box, I think going forward is like pretty smart, because you've already figured out all the tolerances. So definitely use it. And then the other thing is like simple things like, let me add a little slit so that the wires can fit through, because like otherwise, if that was closed off, you'd have to thread the wires, and that can be problematic.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the things we're trying to avoid. Order of operations, or it can be put in any other order. Sometimes you can't avoid that, like you have to solder a thing or thread a thing and solder it. But in this case, quite happy that we could go a different route. So
that's really great.
See, definitely is easier to access the slide switch with this bigger chunky actuator than it is, and if it was off. So yeah, it goes on like that. And quite happy with that the printer was able to get the tolerance right for that teeny tiny little slide switch.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I think that's pretty much it. Super simple little project. Lots of the wearables use the coin cell, so definitely wanted to tackle that challenge of enclosing everything, making it all nice and secure inside this little guy.
Yeah, so one of the main features about these LEDs is that they come pre-wired, and I think that's what Lamar wanted. She stocked these, and she's like, it'd be nice to have these very, very tiny LEDs come pre-wired, because then folks that are new to electronics don't have to like struggle with soldering to these very tiny pads. So, and the other thing is they're color coded, so you know what's ground and what's power, and that helps a lot. And the wires themselves are, like 30 gauge, so they're really small. The LEDs are 0805 LEDs, so they're like the chip LEDs. And they come in different colors. You get a pack of 5 of them for $5. But the whole thing about them is they come pre-wired, so that folks that are new to electronics don't have to struggle with soldering these tiny little LEDs. And so whether folks are making miniatures or embedding them into cosplay, this is a really good option to get started with LEDs. So we hope folks check them out. I don't think I've seen SMT LEDs pre-wired before, so this is really nice to see. And we have a good assortment of colors. I saw Fetty too on on Discord was asking like, well, what about conductive thread? Maybe conductive thread would be a good option. Maybe you can have those conductive threads like go through the band. That's a really good idea. If folks are really into like sewing, maybe they have a sewing machine, you can try that. I think that'd be a good option. But for folks that are just getting started, having the LEDs pre-wired like saves you so much time and
Yeah.
worry about soldering to the pins on the coin cell breakout. So that's always a good thing. But yeah, conductive thread is always a more of a. I see it more as an advanced thing for folks. Like if you don't have the sewing skills or the soldering skills, it's going to kind of be hard to get into it both. But you were able to just do a couple stitches with a needle and thread just to keep those wires, from getting dangled with your hair, for example. So yeah, I'm glad you did that.
Thread, that's more for like fabric, is what I would use that in. So
yeah, it doesn't really stretch, right?
That's moving around. Yeah, this is just PLA, so it's nice and rigid.
Cool. All right.
Oh, we were gonna go over, I guess, the Learn guide. Just go through it real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go through it.
All right, cool. Super simple. It's going a nice little overview, showing off the breakout and the teeny tiny little LEDs for that. Some of the tools you're going to need. It was pinch crimp ends. That's what it is. That's a search term that you can use to find. I think they come in like a pack of like 50 or something, but we've used these so many times for like all the masks and like a bunch of like the props. So definitely cool to have like a nice little coil of that ready to go. And then some of your standard stuff, soldering iron, scissors, the screwdriver, and of course the hot glue gun. We're using the battery-powered ones. I think you have a Ryobi one, you have a Black & Decker one, and you definitely need it definitely gets nice and hot so that you're able to have a little bit more time to for the hot glue to be malleable to get it into all those recesses.
Cool.
3D printing, here are all the source files. We have the CAD if you want to upload that. You put in once you can view it on the browser, and then we have them on Thingiverse if you just want to get the STLs for that. No supports required for this. You'll just need a brim to hold the main headband together. And I have those all oriented, so you can just bring them in as is. You should print all in one go. It takes about like 6 hours, so a little bit of a while to print all that out. And then if
I have a question. The filament that you use is like already shiny and glittery, and it's PLA. So if you don't want to do any post processing, that's always a good way to go. Is like just get a color that's sparkly and shiny. What's the filament? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's Everyone, and it's just on Amazon.
Okay.
And cool. These come in. I don't know if you noticed, there is a darker color. So this is like I think like the black and the gray one. So I think it's this color that they use on the show.
Yeah, that's cool. Like to kind of get it, without having to sand and paint and stuff, which you can totally do. But it's nice to have the filament already be that color and that shine.
Of course, if you're doing like how some people do like the weathered look on like the Mandalorian costume, so definitely a good way to do that, to match everything. And then you posted the source file for the breakout. Some steps, STL. You want to get the mounting holes and add that to any project that you want to power with this tiny little guy.
Yeah, for sure.
It's what I use to get the mounting holes and to line up the switch, so we can get that aligned to the actuator.
Yay.
Super simple in terms of the circuit diagram. I reload that to get that photo in there. And they're already wired, so it's remember the colors. Right. Blue is brown, red goes on to the switch. Or if you want them to be constantly on, you can just put it on the on pin.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a nice option.
But these last, I can't tell you like the amount of how long they last, because they have not died on me yet. So quite a while.
Several hours.
Yeah. I posted I don't think you need a resistor, but they're pretty bright. And if you're going to be using them like outside, it's bright enough to see outside. So
cool.
Don't think resistor for these, since there are like 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I mentioned this last week too. I was testing like all the different colors to see if any of them dimmed out when you have 4 of them attached, and I didn't see any dimming. They all look the same amount of brightness on every
Nice.
color. Because usually, like, the white takes up more power and it'll like dim all the other ones. So I didn't notice any of that happening between the different colors. All right,
Yeah,
so
they have
moving on.
the product page says they have a forward voltage of 3.2 volts.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yep. All right, so sort of like a wearables project to have some threading going on. So the recesses have a little hole near the end of the headband, so you can thread the wires through there. It is big enough for that. Let's see. So once you thread that too, yep, you're gonna, with the hot glue gun, just lay that down. You want to hold onto the LED too, like give it a little bit of pressure or pull it on it just a little bit so that it glues in place facing towards the channel. If you notice that in there, you don't want it pointing like up, like away, because then I don't think it would illuminate or diffuse the entire hot glue that's in the recess. So just make sure that you can orient your LED. If I click on this to make it big, you can see that I also added a little bit of a bend on here so that it is facing forward. So you do want to make sure that you're very careful on that and then bend it so that the LED shoots the light towards, the channel. So it'll illuminate the entire thing. And then this is what it should look like once you got all the hot glue on there. Don't worry about making a big mess because hot glue on 3D printed stuff comes out pretty good. Like
yeah, you could always use alcohol to remove it.
Not even. You can just use
really? It just peels away.
It peels right off. So definitely be careful with the hobby knife when you're trimming this up. I did try to use the flush cutters, but maybe mine aren't as sharp. It ripped it right off.
So funny.
Yeah. So that's cool that you do have that ability to undo things and not have it be completely messed up, to mess up one of your LEDs, or if your positioning wasn't like it cooled down, the position of your LED isn't how you wanted. You can wait for the hot glue to cool off and you can just rip it right off and try again. So the main thing that you want to do is make sure that all of your corners have the hot glue seeping into it. So to look a little bit cleaner, you can see down here, I missed a little bit down here. You have a little bit of hole, but don't worry. Once you have the lights in there, you won't be able to notice it. And this is how
looks good from afar.
Yeah. Let's see. Following that, once all your diffusion is nicely tested, you're happy with that. Assembling the elastic band is pretty easy. Just cut it down to your size. You want to make it just a little bit smaller than what the back of your head is, so that you have it a little bit taut. You don't want to be too loose because then it'll fall off your head. Which is the mistake I did with this one. It's just a little bit too big. After that, the little pinch ends, you can get them at an angle so that it will fit through once you put them through. So if you have them in like that, they will go through to either put on or take off. So just angle it so it goes in vertically through the slit. And then you can attach your assembled circuit. Did I show that? No, you solder all your wires after the elastic band, and then you could thread, like you were shown before, the little brackets through the headband, the elastic headband. And then assembly of the switch, just line it up. It pushes right through, and you should not too much with that. You want to align. You want to make sure that the switch, the actuator switch, and the actual switch on the breakout board are both aligned. So when you attach the lid, it goes right on there. Otherwise, they won't line up, and you'll have to try again.
Okay.
The other thing to watch out for is just make sure that your wires are not being pinched in any way. So you want to sort of make like this this curved shape so that you fit it through the slit, and then do the snapping of both sides of the lid. After that, you just want to thread the wires through that little slit on the brackets, just so you can hide them. And again, extra step, you can do the little threading here. what I did was create a little X on these. You can kind of see here with some thread and the needle.
Yep.
And all that does is just keep it behind there. Not totally needed, but that's pretty much it. Nice, simple little wearable with LEDs in it to
Yeah,
match your
very cool.
Mandalorian costume.
Yay.
Yep. Again, for me, the biggest nugget on here was having the case for the coin cell because
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
sure it'll come up again.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things that you can reuse for other projects. So very nice.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. We got some more comments. Fetty2 had another just a kind of a cool comment. Looks like they're working on a refresh of the sound reactive drum set so that folks with the Gemma or the one that was made with their Gemma and a mic, they're doing it with a Circuit Playground because the Gemma's kind of a little bit outdated these days. So doing it with a Circuit Playground is really, really fun. It's a proof of concept to show folks from a marching band and probably going to put some lights on the band with the ESP32S3 Cutie Pie and the new ESP Now code. And Fetty2 is also saying that they do a sewing class in high school here in Costa Rica. So the skills are pretty common. That is great. That is really cool. Yeah, so definitely give it a shot with the sewing conductive fabric. Though I do wonder how you would, how would you attach the conductive thread to the surface mount pads? Because normally you have like a circuit with sewable like
so you would strip the plastic
the enamel
off.
wire. Oh right.
Yeah,
the wire that's
you
pre-wired.
can weave it into the fabric and then
weave it into that. Okay, yeah, I didn't think of that.
Sort of tie around. I think Becky made a video on that, how to
connect
the thread connecting to an actual wire. But that's one of the ways to do that. If
And
this
there's
was
several-
like sewing, I would do it that way.
Right. And there's several stainless types of conductive thread. I'm not an expert on it, but maybe do a little bit of research and see which one's the best one to use. And then we have sewable LEDs, don't we? The lily pad stuff, and then the sequins. Yeah, those are sewable. Yeah, these boys.
What do we use the threads on? I know we used it before. We have a couple of the spools.
What's the thread?
You can see the past projects that it was used in. Let's see.
Yeah, there's like 2-ply, 3-ply, stainless steel, yarn.
There's like snaps.
Yeah, there's snaps that are kind of cool for
the sparkle dress.
Yeah.
Oh, the Pac-Man suspenders.
Oh, all the different thread projects.
Yeah. Of course, none of the thumbnails are loading.
Right. We're eating up all the bandwidth streaming. All right. Well, that's really cool. Yeah, it's always a good kind of different approaches to it. So there you go.
Oh, that's what he used it on.
Oh yeah.
Cortana.
This is like 2014.
Yeah. So
2014. Yeah, September.
On fabric. That's when I would use it. But yeah, all these LEDs that you see on Brandy there, that's how they're all connected. Then we have one of the NeoPixel rings right on the belly.
Right. Yeah, that's super advanced, I think. Cool.
Need to redo a lot of these projects.
Yeah, I think
because
so.
They need to refresh. The trinket and stuff, the Gemma.
Yeah, the trinket and the Gemmas are all like these older SAM, not even SAM, M0s or Atmel 320, whatever. I forget the model number. Yeah, they're all kind of hard to get these days, and we these days we need a chip that can run CircuitPython.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool. Here.
Yep. One of Becky's methods is to use sewable snaps, PID 1126. There you go. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the sewable NeoPixels, of course. Yes. Yeah. Very cool.
All right.
Yeah, I like doing the simple on-off LEDs every other month because it like kind of introduces new people that are just getting started.
Mm-hmm. Originally we were thinking with the little dot NeoPixels and with like a teensy in the back, but Lamar mentioned that they don't even animate, so let's just go.
Yeah,
with
in the
simple.
show they really don't animate, but
Uh,
folks can go all out and do all the fun advanced stuff.
yeah.
Cool. All right. That is this week's project. If you want to pick up anything in the shop, we have coupon code BOCATAN, get you 10% off any of the things, physical things in the Adafruit shop. So we got that. Next up, I guess we'll go into what are you prototyping?
Yeah, let's check it out.
We have a Canary Nightlight.
Canary in the coal mine?
Really, I was going to talk. So next week, we're going to finally release the Learn Guide and video for the Epcot Ball. I'll reserve talking about it for next week because it's basically just a bunch of LEDs, a Cutie Pie ESP, Cutie Pie ESP32 Pico, and the WLED firmware. But I'll talk about that. Yeah, that'll be next week's project. This is what I've been prototyping. This is going to be a collab project with Katney Rambor, who's on the CircuitPython team. She wanted to do this project where it's an IoT nightlight, and she was inspired by a song by They Might Be Giants that talks about a canary nightlight. So this is my canary 3D model. It's been 3D printed. It's a pretty hollow and thin so that it illuminates really nice. And then for the circuit, we're using the Cutie Pie ESP32S2 and the 5x5 NeoPixel BFF. That stands for Best Friends. And then I have this little USB-C connector adapter to USB Type A connector. And this snap fits into this little base with the NeoPixels facing up. So this snaps into that. Let me take that off for a second. And then these just snap fit in there. That way it illuminates. And then I'm going to use one of these little 5-volt USB adapters so that I can connect this. And then this will connect into the bird like that. That way you can just plug that in to your outlet. So you have like a very easy IoT project. I think Katney's doing the code in CircuitPython. So here it is lighting up. I just have the LED animation library just kind of pulsing through different colors. So this is just white PLA, and I think I have the brightness set to 100%. Most of it lights up pretty good. I do have a little bit of like holes and stuff in the bird, but that's because like no support material. But I think it's good enough, right? Like the rest of the bird looks really good. There's angles here that kind of are fine for a 3D printer. You could add support material, but I don't like to use support material.
On the inside, it'd be tough to get out too.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, that's it. So there's 25 pixels here because it's a 5x5 grid. It'll just plug into the wall with this adapter. And that's pretty much it. So we'll have this in 2 weeks. I think it'll use Adafruit IO to request time. So we'll see about that. Yeah, I'm gonna meet with Katney later to discuss the code part of it. But that's
I think one of
the
feature requests too that Lamar had was when the internet goes down, she wants blinking or something, some way to notify. So
yeah,
I'm sitting there going, "Is the internet down?" Going crazy, like,
right.
"Why is this not moving?"
Just look at the bird. So it's like a canary in the coal mine type thing. Yeah. But for me personally, this was a lot of what do you call it? It took me I modeled this in Fusion 360 using the sculpting environment. And I rarely use the sculpting environment, so I learned a lot. I spent a lot of time learning how to do typology correctly so that I can create a solid model out of this. A lot of curvatures. I don't think you can create this sort of thing with sketches and lofting, let's say, or revolve. Like, it's very organic.
Not the way that the wings.
Yeah, the wings and everything. So it was really nice for me to like kind of go in there. I kind of went with like the kind of polygon style of modeling, but in Fusion with T-splines. I literally started with one plane and just extruded and went all around. I used symmetry so that I would just make one half of the bird and the other half was made, and then you kind of fill it in after you're done. But yeah, it was really, really nice to kind of get experience on doing these organic shapes. So it's all about typology, like how good it is. And then you can switch between like a smooth and like the box model view so that you can really fine tune your vertices and your subdivisions. So that was cool because I don't really have much experience with polygon modeling. But again, it's not polygons, it's surfaces and T-splines inside of Fusion.
Yeah.
So I did try when in the surface or in the sculpting environment, you start with like a blob and then you mesh the blob. Like I didn't do that because it's so difficult to get typology out of like a pre-made primitive blob. I found it to be very difficult to work with the blob, so I went straight with just a plane and just extruded the plane 100 times. That's my 5-minute explainer on modeling a bird in Fusion. It could totally be done.
Yeah, it looks good.
Thank you. I might get it sent to like what is it called, PCBWay, to get it like a resin print because that would look amazing in resin. But yeah, this is just regular PLA. There's a couple of wobbly bits here, but not too bad.
Yeah,
there's some holes. You know, it's a bird. It's seen some things.
Is asking about Gravity Sketch, like doing the VR sculpting.
I haven't tried that yet. I don't have a VR headset. I haven't got into that, but I've heard some folks use the VR headsets and Gravity Sketch to create stuff. I was listening to a podcast, an interview, I think on Hackster.io with a fellow who uses that, and that sounded really cool. Yeah, maybe I'll wait for Apple to make a VR headset.
Maybe one I want to try out for Gavin is one called Nomad, and it's all on the iPad, and it has all these sculpting tools. We're all familiar with.
Yeah,
it's just on the iPad, and that's
what
a lot of a lot of the like those detailed, crazy looking models. That's where a lot of them are made anyway.
Yeah. At some point, I got to get into like just straight up like a ZBrush approach to modeling, where you're literally just sculpting with these sculpting tools. Yeah, that way you don't really have to worry about topology that much. You're more about like the form of just like a traditional sculpting person.
Yeah.
I haven't done that.
Challenge for sculpting these in Fusion, getting all the tools right and the behavior the way you want things to behave don't usually go work out as planned. Like I tried so hard to make this with the inside the sculpting tool, and at the end I was like, oh no, I can't do the emboss in there.
So, that's right. Yeah.
There's and then again, I like being able to edit the curve that's controlling how big this is, so anybody can go in there and just adjust to their head size. It's one of the things out there.
Yep.
See another question. Yeah, DJ Devin asking, doesn't all the T-spline eventually come down to triangles? Yeah, right at the end.
When you export it,
STL,
yeah, there are some approaches to use sketches and extrude that in the sculpting environment, and then you could update it later and it would kind of update. But it depends on what you're making.
Yeah.
So I always try to get away with sketches and solid modeling as much as I can. But for the bird, I just had to go with this. When it came down to it, like this piece here is done with a sketch. This is just a spline curve. And then I was able to shell it. And then all of this is done with the sketches. Like the whole here is all a sketch, so it's parametric. So you really got to think like, what can I do that needs to be parametric? Do that with sketches, and everything else you can kind of sculpt around. So
and then people want to see this in the resin print. Yeah, definitely do the.
I should send it off. I have a couple weeks. Sorry, the bird's hungry. That's fun. Cool. All right, good stuff. I guess for shop talk, I have one other thing, and then we'll get into community makes. I haven't had to do this yet, but like I made a little snap fit case with a live hinge, and a live hinge is just this thin piece of plastic that allows you to bend. And then with the circular ends of the case, the cover has this like little, I can't zoom into it. Let me change my camera angle to ultra wide. And then I can go really deep in there. Yeah, so you can see it's got that snap fit geometry that's at a 45-degree angle. That way, let me full screen that. That way, it can print without any supports. It's only a little bit of it. It sweeps along an offset sketch of the end there. And then I have some reliefs here for the lip. And then on this end, I have a little bit of a nub that sweeps on the inside of the case. So that way, when I close it, you got your live hinge. So the live hinge is able to bend in all degrees. And then you have your lip that fits in there. And then that clicks in there. And then I added these cutaways here so that like you can get your fingernail to open it again. And the idea here is just to house some pennies. Because like, let's say you want to go to a museum and you like penny presses. This could be a good thing. Yeah, I love penny presses. And then this is 0.4 millimeters thick. So that's 2 layers if you have a 0.2 layer height. So that I find is pretty good for a live hinge. It's strong enough, but thin enough to be able to bend. And then you could double this as a little keyring holder. So if you wanted to put this on your keychain, you can use the live hinge to do that. And then, yeah, I haven't had to do this yet. So I thought it was a neat shop talk to just talk about a little snap fit change holder. And then you can make the thickness as thick as you want or as thin as you want. And it has a pretty decent seal. And then you can, put whatever details you want on the sides or something. But I thought that was neat. I haven't really done a case with a live hinge, I don't think.
Trying to remember where we've seen one.
Right?
I think
have we done a live hinge?
Ends up is the what are they? The nose thing for the pool, like the nose plug or the ear plugs, I think.
Right, those cases for those. Like, yeah, if you wanted to have a case for your nose plugs, ear plugs, this would be a good option for that. And yeah, I think 0.4 millimeter thick is going to be plenty strong for several 100 opens and closes. But yeah, so that's my thing. I'll release it if folks want. Right now, I just finished it. So
you got a request. DJ Devin wants a layer by layer.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. I need to get back into those. So this could be a good one.
The sweet. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I have not thought of that.
Good. Yeah, I just find it easier to sweep along your curve because then you already have your curve, and so it's all good.
Let's see other comments going through here. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yanni saying that you can just print the headband Ninja Flex. Oh yeah, dang it, that would have been a good because then I could have had stuff already modeled in there for the case.
Yeah, I could see it being a little maybe with Cheetah Ninja Flex.
Yeah,
but those very thin walls where you have those inserts for the LEDs, I could find those to be challenging. Right. So maybe.
Oh no, I thought he meant I thought he meant the elastic part.
Oh,
but no, the entire band. Yeah. It might cut away at it. So
well, I think the elastic band is like no print time. Like something like that, it's gonna take 4 hours to print. So it depends what you want to do, I guess. If you wanted details and embedded channels, maybe go with Ninja Flex.
And here's the other thing. I was scared to use Ninja Flex.
Look how thin that is. Like, that's crazy.
Dude, look at the under extrusion.
Oh, it's under extruded. Yeah, that tends to happen a lot with thin areas.
I narrowed it down, though. It's my nozzle. Because I printed the exact same thing. Nothing changed on the other Cruelty V2 Pro. We have 2 of those. So this was printed on one of them. And then the other one was printed on the other V2. And this part came out excellent. So there's definitely a nozzle clog, but you could run into that problem where heavily under extrusion. Oh yeah, you can definitely see it there.
Yeah.
It was like the filament. I thought it was my settings. I tried like so many times to get it to go right, and all I had to do was just change out the nozzle, do like a cold pull on it.
You could also just thicken that area a little bit more, and then like chamfer the edges. So it depends on what does the design need.
Push this. Yeah, I guess I could push that over, but then it printed fine on the other printer, so I was like,
right, yeah. Well, folks,
again, it was a clogged nozzle.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think I've heard that some of the glitter PLA tends to be abrasive, and it'll like wear out your nozzle or cause issues down the line. So just to be aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a new nozzle will go a long way. Cool.
And then Devin's saying that sometimes, instead of trying to get something to buy something, instead of spending 50 hours to print it.
50 hours. Yeah, that's a lot. Whew, that's like the Epcot ball. Start printing it now.
Oh yeah, it took a while.
It takes a long time. It's like 2 days to print one half. It's like, I could really use a bamboo printer, print at 100 millimeters a second. Yeah.
All right.
Cool. We're ready for Time Lapse Tuesday. Community Makes. Yeah.
This week, Community Makes is, I guess you're the community now, Noah. This one's you.
Community. That's me. Yeah. Well, I thought it'd be good to time lapse it because it's a fun storage. It's got a mechanism. It's print in place, and it's kind of this useful thing that can hold, storage cards, flash storage cards.
As a grade and fit all the Star Wars stuff. I should have brought it with me to put up the trash cans.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Because they all look like this with these details.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice little hinge to fit the SD cards on it. We showed it off last week, but what we got in here is the SD cards, the little guys, and then of course the bigger compact flash that we use on the Blackmagic cameras. But you fit those, and then you have added an additional storage little area in this spot down in there,
right? So for whatever.
I guess like Switch stuff, so that fits in there. Or Mario Maker.
Sure, yeah. So I've seen other versions of this, and like my story is that like I printed it out and I was excited, but then like it just fused when I printed it, and I was like, oh man, I really want this to work. And then I looked at the comments, and other people had remixes, and that inspired me to just give it a go, give it a try it out in Fusion. So I made it parametric, and I went from using like these double hinges to just using one linkage instead of two linkages, because that's what I was referencing. You really don't need two linkages. And it was a challenge, to be honest. This was a challenge to print. It even is still challenging to print because of
it takes a while to print too.
And it takes a while to print because there's just a lot of movement from the printer, and it's got a lot to do, a lot of retractions on it. Yeah, here's mine. So you used the glitter PLA that turned out okay, I suppose. Mine is the silver. Yeah, mine is the silver stuff. It was stringy. There's still some string on it. But yeah, I kept thickening the linkage here. So I thickened that up quite a bit. And even still, like I think I noticed yours was under extruded on one linkage. Is that because it's the time lapse?
It's definitely the time lapse.
Yeah.
And you can see too in the time lapse video, the first attempt, it struck it, and
you definitely want Z-Hop. I noticed that Z-Hop alleviated some of my issues too. It is a challenging print. I'll say it again because it's just hard to print built-in linkages that start literally printing in the air. Because if you look at the cross-section view, this hinge right here starts printing in the layer or in mid-air. So one of the things I ended up doing was creating cutaways on the cylinder part of the hinge so that it's a 45-degree angle. So it starts with literally one layer and then two layers and then so on and so forth as it's going there. But these reliefs here are there just so that it can print
Okay.
in this orientation. So that's why there's these slits here.
Mhm.
And then you have that weird additive where like it can like do this number, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I did that.
But yeah, that was a lot of. Take a look at the Fusion 360 file or the step file if you're using some other CAD, and take a good look at the sketches and the geometry as a whole to see how it works. It was challenging to figure out. I used Fusion's joints to simulate the joint hinge so that I can see that it's going to close right and all that. And that was hard as well because like sometimes the joints don't work like the way you think they will. So it's all trial and error, but yeah. Let's see.
Oh, it took it 8 hours.
Oh.
Yep. Quite surprisingly longer than you think.
Yep, the first one did get knocked off. That's right. Didn't know the time lapse made things precarious.
That's why I kept it in there.
Yeah, just the way that it's because you're using a DSLR camera. It has to park its head in order to trigger the camera. So maybe that introduces some stuff. But DJ Devin did make it and posted a make. So here is we're switching over to Community Makes.
Oh, it looks good.
So DJ Devin did print it out in this black filament. Looks like it worked pretty good. It's got some string as well. We got some string too. It's just all about fine tuning the temperature, I think. But sometimes it just happens. Just clean it up, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because sometimes you'll have it on like a hotter temperature because you're using a different filament, and then you forget to switch it.
Yep.
It's like, oh no.
Yep, I had that same issue. And then actually another make on this one this week is from Papa Joe. They printed it out. This is all in French. I did translate it, but it basically said like they used PETG. Yeah, they used PETG, and eventually they got it to work.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of stringing there. I find PETG is stringy too. Like it's very stringy, much more stringier than PLA. You have to print it hotter, like at 240, I think. Yeah, but it looks good.
Yes.
I'm glad it worked out. But yeah, I imagine this is going to happen a lot, and it's one of those torture test prints for your printer.
Totally.
And I think this was printed on the looks like the Prusa i3.
Yeah, it's torture test that you can use later.
Yeah, if you have SD cards. Yep. And let's see what else is this week. We have a make from Pexel EDI. They did a remix. Was this a remix? Yeah, it's a remix of our Featherwing e-ink stand. This is using a different e-ink display. It's a MHET Live, I think. And they just remixed it so that it fits that PCB with some screws. Looks really nice. In that good filament. That glitter filament. All the rage. It's the glitter filament. And then this is our first make, or maybe it's the second make of the Disney Magic Band reader. This is for like super ultra Disney fans that have Magic Bands and they want to be able to use their Magic Band at home when they're not at Disney. This one uses the Scout kit, or is it? No, sorry, the RFID Whiz kit from Smooth Technologies. It's an easy way to make projects that work with RFID devices. So it's got a NeoPixel. I think a Feather, right? NeoPixels, yeah, Adafruit Feather RP2040, the I2S amplifier, a mini oval speaker. This was like their first project, so they're saying that it was a little bit of frustrating because they had to figure out how to solder things, but it was a good one. It took 20 hours to print everything, but yeah, it's a bit of a build. But it's a good one if you really super fan Disney. You can customize the CircuitPython code to, to make it have different sound effects, different audio thingies. Yeah. And he printed it on his Ender 3 with this really nice
kit. Yeah, and the WizKit kit has the what is it? So you can like turn on and off lights. So I've seen people attach this.
Yeah.
like that, or their Christmas
Yeah.
tree.
Yeah. So, things that are 120 or 220 volt, things that are powered by your mains can be turned on and off with this WizKit. So, yeah, this was a lot of fun working on it. And it's nice to see a fellow Disney fanatic go down the rabbit hole of making their own Magic Band reader.
Looks like he took a picture on that 50th anniversary beach towel.
Oh, that's
There's a
funny. You
Joey.
know exactly it's the 50th because you can see
Joey.
the 5 and the 0 here. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it's a pretty pricey build too because it's like $50. He had a whole breakdown here. Like the total cost was like 144 plus shipping. So there's a lot of stuff in there because you got that really nice amplifier, you got the RFID WizKit, you got the NeoPixel strip, you got all those connectors. Yeah, it all adds up. But if you are a super fan, you can make one.
Very cool.
And the last one for this week is another set insert rig. Yeah, from Stanley Stadley David. They made their own thing. Sorry, I'm running out of energy here. I like seeing people remix this build to use like more traditional parts, like the ZZ08, 608 ball bearings. I probably should have did that, but I'm glad the community took it on their own to like remix the parts, to fit their setup. And if they got a ball bearing like this, maybe check out using that. And they have their own piece of wood and everything.
Nice.
But yeah, if you're really doing a bunch of heat set inserts, you definitely want to have your own rig. And
that's a bit.
Yeah, so let's see. My inserts have smaller diameter, so reduce the whole. Yeah, I see that a lot too. Like every manufacturer of these heat set inserts have different diameters, so you want to update your own CAD.
Oh, you're kidding.
And double check that they're the same size. They were able to edit it in Fusion 360. They're using the ABEX 7 skate bearings that they had on hand. And some other things about diameters, really. But yeah, it turned out pretty good. Yay! I'm glad people are continuing to make modifications to this open source design. Very cool.
Yeah, I think one of the blog posts this week or next week or one of the weeks is going to be they made like a tester for testing all the heat sets, like for practicing, essentially. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I remember I made my own practice thing too.
Oh yeah.
And because like I got some from McMaster, but the ones that we stock at Adafruit are different. Yeah, I think there's a video out there from CNC Kitchen that was like testing all the different types of heat sets, which one's the best one. He did like a scientific test of like how much force does it take to pull it out and all this stuff. So that's really cool. Check that one out. I think it's CNC Kitchen. Alrighty.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
Right on time.
That's this week's show. Yep. Next week is a big celebratory 400th episode. We'll be featuring the Epcot Spaceship Earth replica. Over 100 LEDs. WLED. Cutie Pie. All the fun things. And then the bird. And then something else.
See, Tears of the Kingdom. Zelda comes out Friday, so
this Friday.
That's what I'll be working on, figuring out what
we're going to be playing the game.
If you guys have suggestions on what next Zelda prop you want to see, please
let us know.
Send them our way. Any ideas?
Yeah. Before we go, coupon code is a Bo-Katan. So if you want to use it, we also have another coupon code tonight on Ask an Engineer. So Lamar and Phil will be hosting show and tell, I believe, tonight. Excuse me. So we'll hope to see you folks there. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching and hanging out with us. We'll see you next week. But until then, remember to make a great day. Bye, everybody.